on, looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 New England Patriots. The New England Patriots 0-16. They suck. They really suck. They really suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Oh, I gotta move the chair here. My buddy Randy's here. Can't start the video if my buddy Randy. Hold on, buddy. All right, there we go. All right, here we go. Randy's here. We can continue. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. You try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. But plus also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free, fire away, right? Before we get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. The second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, I thank you in advance. It would mean so much to me. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. Next time I go live or I put a video out, you'll be notified, and it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you're subscribed to my channel, thank you. And then finally, also, a little farther down in the description box, there's 2 links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. The second one is a Twitter link. It's been Twitter. It's Twitter today. It'll be Twitter tomorrow. It'll be Twitter 10 trillion years from now. I call it Twitter. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on him. I'm not calling it. It's Twitter. I got a Twitter account. I usually try to put some Giant stuff in there every day. If you follow me on Twitter, I will follow you back. That's a promise. And then also, finally, the link on top of that, it's to my Facebook group, the New York Giants and Gridiron. It's a group. We just went over 7,200 members in the group. It's amazing. It's amazing. It really, really is. I started, it was a couple of years ago when I started this group, but it was amazing. Like last year, when things were going good, the Giants, what was 7-2 at one point, whatever it was. I mean, I'm getting like 100 members like every 2 days or so. I mean, things are going good. Everybody's, up on the Giant bandwagon. Everybody, loving life and everything. And the group was really doing good. Kind of amazing now that the Giants, they're looking so good this year that the membership level has not really been going up as much as it did last season. But we just hit 7,200 members, right? We were holding tight at 7,100 for about a week or so, but we just reached over 7,200 members. We're doing fantastic. I absolutely love this group. If I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I have stuff going in this group every day, bar none, darn near 365. And if you become a member, not only do I put stuff in here, but members post stuff in here as well. Every day. So basically between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. Please join the group, the New York Giants and Gridiron. You won't be disappointed. I guarantee it. Well, guys, I'll tell you, sometimes there's, the understatement be tough watching it. I mean, you could say, watching the Giants today and watching paint dry. It's kind of like, dip the scale both. That'd be pretty even. I tell you what, this was not an easy game to watch. But we've kind of expected that from this year, from the Giants. Right along the lines. This is right along the lines of like that Jet game. Right, we're up 10-7. Whatever we had, we got this one right. Right. But at least this time, Father Luck or whoever it was, the football gods were on the Giants' side. Was it a 35-yard field goal? Very makeable, but the football gods were on the Giants' side in that last play, and the Giants come away with the W. Once again, it was not easy. Thankfully for the defense, because if it wasn't for the defense, if it wasn't for the what is that? Is that a D? Is that a D? Does that look like it? If it wasn't for a D, there'd be no dub because there was definitely no O. Definitely no O. Giants, I think I looked. They had, I think it was 11 drives. 8 out of 11 drives, they had 5 plays or less. I mean, it was wow. I think they, what did they have? What did they have? They had 2 6-play drives and a 7-play drive, I think it was. I mean, it was holy cow. Let me see here. I can pop it up here. Where are we at here? Is this it? Here we go. Yeah. I mean, holy cow. Of course, the one drive they had was the last play of the game. So that was the one. So it's a little skewed, but still really bad. End of the game, they had they did the kneel down. But then the one before that, they had 3 plays and a punt. 3 plays, 2 yards. The end of the game, one was one play minus 1 yards. Then they had the field goal, where somehow they went 7 plays and they got 8 yards in 7 plays. Somehow. That's not easy to do. I mean, of course, that's after the interception. They started at the 32. 7 plays later, they got 8 yards. I mean, that's not easy to do. 7-play, 8-yard drive. Culminating, thankfully, with the game-winning field goal. But then let's see. After that, what do they have? 3 plays, 3 yards. 6 plays, 32 yards. I think that was that might have been the long one. I mean, we had the punt, 4 plays, 18 yards. Then we had the 6-play, a touchdown drive of 28 yards. Was that what it was? Is that 28? 26 yards. They had a 26-yard drive. Okay. So the longest drive of the game that the Giants had was 33 yards. 33-yard drive. That's the longest drive of the game. I mean, that the Giants completed, some pass. I was thankfully good to see Jalen High get in there. So good. Thank you, sweet dear baby Jesus. So good. But with all the sacks we had in there, obviously you're taking some yardage off of some of the drives and everything. But 6-play, 28-yard drive, 26-yard drive. Then we had a 3-play, 6-yard drive. 5-yard drive. 4-play, 17-yard drive. 5-play, 20-yard drive. 4-play, 15-yard drive. Then there was another one. Then they had 5 plays, 48 yards. Right. So unfortunately, that was when DeVito fumbled the ball. I mean, obviously you can almost think that was almost our best drive because we started the ball at our 25, right? We went almost 50 yards. We went from our 25 almost to their 25. So we almost went 50 yards. So actually the first drive of the game was maybe like the Giants' best drive. But then we had, DeVito fumbled the ball. But thankfully, right, that was wound up being our only turnover of the game. And after that, DeVito did a very good job on the things, on the circumstances. Now, once again, okay, please forgive my stupidity. How many sacks did we give up? Was it 5? Was it 6? Team stats here. 6 for minus 29 yards. So we had, let's see, DeVito had 162 yards. passing. Let's see here. All right. He had 191 passing yards, but after you take the 29 sack yards off, we had 162 total passing yards. Now, that's not surprising because I said in the video last night, right? The Patriots have a very good pass defense. They have a very good, as we saw too, which I'm going to go over in just a short bit here. They have a very good run defense. Their run defense it gives up. If I remember, they were tied, I think, with the Browns, I think it was, giving up the least yards, rushing yards per average, 3.4 yards per rush. Very good. And once again, I think they averaged giving out 229 passing yards per game. So their defense was good. So you knew there was especially with the Giants, as banged up as we are, our offensive lines kind of, mishmash, we got a third string quarterback in there, right? It is what it is. There was a really good chance that the Giants were just not going to walk up and down the field on the Patriots. And that was the case. So the Patriots, as I said, very good pass defense. We had a couple long ones in there to hide. Yes, good. I thought we were going to run the ball with Saquon a little bit more. All in all, hit me. Let's see here. What was it? 3.8 yards of rush. That's nothing. Yeah. The Patriots did better running the ball, but that was without because we didn't have the sexy one in there. But after DeVito's first fumble, right? It's suffice to say that he did a very good job at not blowing the game. Now, of course, when we, that was like a 3-point that fumble. Probably took 3 points off the board for the Giants. You got to, or there's a good chance we lost 3 points there because of that fumble. But as I said, the rest of the game, he did a very, very good job of making some plays, not making mistakes, not throwing any interceptions, right? Which wound up being huge once again because the Giants, in this game could not afford turnovers, and they did a very good job of that. The defense, once again, so this is I think 9 turnovers, and it's sometimes it's like sacks, right? They come in bunches. I think the Giants had 2 sacks today, right? McKayvon got in on another one. Hottie. Good old Hottie, huh? Hottie at the end of the game, huh? Coming up big. Good old Mr. Hottie. But they say sometimes the turnovers come in bunches, right? So the 9 turnovers, obviously was one of the biggest reasons why the Giants won these 2 games, right? Especially, I said, if you look, look at the. Oh my God! I'm also laughing at the Patriots too because they were just. If you look at some of these stats here, the Giants. Let's see, there's team stats here. Giants wind up with a grand total of 10 first downs. 10. Holy crap! Let's see, we're 4 out of 13 on third down conversions. Not very good. We had a grand total of 50 plays. After the sack total came out. Okay, we had a grand total 220 yards of offense. 220 yards, 4.4 yards per play. And then after the sacks, we had 162 yards passing, and we had 58 rushing yards, 19 rushes, 58 yards, 3.1 yards per carry. As I said, once again, the Patriots have a very good run defense. Now, and now without the sexy one in there, you knew that the Patriots were going to have a easier time running the ball, especially kind of up the gut. And that wound up being the case. However, thankfully, because of their not stellar quarterback play, we were able to get the dub, right? Because between Mac Daddy Jones and Zappy, they're on the course for a quarterback. They get themselves in prime spot for a quarterback, right? They get another win or so, they'll be in the top 5. I mean, I can't see any possible way that the Patriots wind up backing out of the top 5 any way at all. I remember they need a quarterback play. Now they got to pick the right guy, right? Because I'm starting to hear more. As I said, I don't sit there. I don't do it. Never going to do it. Never have done it. Think won't do it. I have too many other things to do. But I'm not going to sit there and say I break down Caleb Williams. I look at him, man. Every throw he's ever thrown since he was in kindergarten. I analyze it. I break it down. I spend 3.5 hours looking at each play, every throw, every step. I don't do that. Don't do it. Not going to do it. But so I leave that up to the other experts, the people who trade their lives to spend there and watch all the plays. And they do a very good job of it. But I'm starting, to hear more and more that, there's there's no, from what I've just been hearing, there's no generational talent coming out. There's no Andrew Luck, maybe Lawrence. There's no Peyton Manning. There's no generational talent coming out. I mean, now, does that mean all these quarterbacks coming out are going to be pathetic? Absolutely not. I mean, does it mean that certainly a couple of these quarterbacks could be decent? Absolutely, right? So but that also means that they have to pick the right one. Okay, So I mean, the Patriots, they got their work cut out for them, right? They'll be in a prime spot to pick a quarterback. They might even get the chance to pick the first quarterback off the board. They want to make sure they pick the right one, right? Because it's it'll set them back quite a few years if they pick the wrong one. Because you figure they don't have a quarterback now, right? And they're going to pick a quarterback, right? And they're going to give them 2 or 3 years to sort of figure out if they pick the wrong one, and they give them 2 or 3 years, right? Then they got to go back and get another quarterback. Maybe, well, I don't know, what do they, get a free agency, meaning the Patriots, or if they try to go and just draft another one. But I mean, if they pick the wrong one, they could go back, set back for quite a few years. Once again, same thing. We're not with the Giants. I mean, the Giants, they got a lot of things. And once this season's over, you can't go into the draft saying we need this. We have to pick a quarterback in the first round. You pick, the best player available. But it can be interesting to see what avenue the Giants go, right? I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr., right? For all intents and purposes, seems like he's the real deal. Giants need a dog. Got to have a dog. Don't have a dog. Can he be the dog? I mean, be interesting to see what the Giants are prioritizing, right? And especially in the first round, because we got some problems. Got rocket scientists figure that out. What are we doing at quarterback? What are we doing with the offensive line? What are we doing with the Evan Neal experience? Right? We're going to slide him in. We're going to keep him out. I mean, the guy has not been healthy. I mean, we're just going to keep saying maybe year in and year. Well, just let's have him have a healthy year, and then we'll see where Right? I know you certainly don't want to give up on it too early, but we're going to move him inside. We're going to keep him out. So it'll be interesting to see what the Giants are going to do on the offensive line. Now, going back to the offensive line with these sacks and all, some of it on the offensive line, but also some of it is he's holding on to the ball too long, right? Some of like with Daniel Jones, maybe staring down a guy, right? Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's not the Daniel Jones. It's not like the Tom Brady. He's out there dancing, first receiver, second receiver, third, boom, 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 bam, Right, Daniel Jones gets back there, and maybe because he's got the clock in his head, I only got a couple seconds to throw this ball. I'm going to wait for the guy on the curl route, right? So I'm getting the ball, and I'm staring. You know what I mean? And as soon as he turns around, I'm going to hit. But the offensive line, obviously he's still got some work, but with DeVito, he's holding on to the ball a little too long. I mean, he had 15 sacks in his past 2 games. Some of them were on him. It's definitely on him. Now, once again, and it's tough because some of it that just might need to be, right, get more experience, right? Get more and more experience with the different coverages, with the different patterns that you're running, right? And all of that stuff and everything, and you'll get a little faster as time goes by. Now, is he ever going to be a Patrick Mahomes? Probably not, right? Probably not. But, as time goes by, more experience, might get rid of the ball faster. So some of these sacks might come down. Problem is he going to get that experience now because we have Tyrod. Now we have the bye week, right? Tyrod's able to come back. What's going to happen? Put Tyrod in there, or are we going to, keep Tyrod on the sideline, the often injured Tyrod, the backup Tyrod, and go with the hot hand, shall you say? Can be interesting to see. But some of this with DeVito's, he definitely needs to get rid of the ball faster. But getting back to the draft, as I said, it's going to be very interesting to see, what the Giants do. This offensive line, right? Do the Giants want to, I guess I don't know if Harrison's going to make it out of the top 5. The Giants want to, Giants are picking 6th. Right now, anyway. A couple more wins, they could be picking 8th, 9th, somewhere around there. Do the Giants want to, or do they want to take their 3 top possibly 50/55 picks, 3 out of the top 50, 55, or whatever, because we got the Seahawks pick, and just get 3 real good players, right? Without moving up, without giving away some additional draft picks. So that's going to be interesting to see. Very interesting to see. Then, of course, we also have the problem is that, some of the coaching staff. Now, I'll tell you what, you're not hearing anything about special teams now, are you? Right? Especially on the punting. The Scottish Hammer is doing good. Not only is Scottish Hammer doing good, but when the Scottish Hammer punts, you don't have the ball coming all the way back for a touchdown the other way, or you don't have the ball coming back 20, 30 yards the other way. So the Hammer's doing pretty good. And with Olszewski in there, right, he's got a lot of this going on, right? But he's catching it. 1st and 10 Giants, right? He's not, obviously some of maybe he could have returned 1 or so of them, but for the most part, he's not. He's catching the ball. Giants get the ball. 1st and 10 Giants, which is something you haven't always been able to say when Gray or Shepard's been back there, right? Because they've looked a little shaky. So it's going to be interesting to see once again, with Olszewski, what do we do with him after the season's over with? You got yourself a reliable return man, right? But is that all he's going to be able to do for the Giants? That the Giants want to, going forward, maybe next season, do the Giants, like with Jamison Crowder, right? He can return them, and he can be a receiver for you too. I'm sure he can be a more valuable receiver / returnman than Olszewski is. So I'll be interested to see what the Giants do there. But also with the Giants going forward next season, what are we doing with this coaching staff? Now, I'll tell you, you figure in the beginning of the season, right, everybody had McGahee's head on a plate. This guy is gone, right, after the field goal block, run back for a touchdown, right? We had we lost the preseason game to the Lions because we returned a punt back for a touchdown. So everybody pretty much had McGahee's head on a platter after early in the season. But there's not much of that anymore. This will lead me to my next point. Kafka. What are we doing with him? And then let's say Wink. There's been some kind of I don't know where some of these guys get some of this stuff at. But the Giants shot it down, I guess. Let's see here, where we at here. you know, Dabes gave Wink the game ball this week, right? There were reports said before their kickoff Sunday against the Patriots, the Giants battled discord between Coach Brian Daboll and defensive coordinator Wink Martindale, according to Fox Sports. But Daboll specifically gave a game ball to Martindale after New York beat New England 14-7. Well, if it wasn't for his defense, it says 14. It says 14-7 here. I just read 14-7. After they beat him 10-7. CBS Sports, they said, Brian Daboll specifically gave a game ball to Wink Martindale after New York beat New England 14-7. That's why I read 14-7. It was 10-7. These guys need to get up on their act here and put in the right score. The two have reconciled, or at least presenting as much. So, New York's brass apparently heard the initial report, which suggested the coaches were not on the same page prior to their team's 1 o'clock kickoff. Giants director of player personnel Tim McDonald spoke with Martindale after the report was released, according to the New York Daily News. Team president John Mara was then spotted speaking with Daboll and Giants general manager Joe Schoen near the midfield. Now, he was spotted speaking with him near midfield. So, we're assuming that, he could be talking about anything. John Mara was speaking with Joe Schoen. So, of course, it was about this. It doesn't mean that. It means absolutely doesn't mean that at all. Martindale served with the Ravens. Obviously, he was indirectly criticized by Xavier McKinney, right? Let's see here. Yeah, so Wink's had some issues here. Some issues. Wink said, it surprised me. Wink, after McKinley said something. But to say that it's been a tough year for the Giants has been an understatement. The Giants entered the Sunday a 3-8 record, a year after winning the franchise's first playoff game since 2011. Yeah, injuries. But the thing is, one of the things that I heard was also, there was, problem. Especially when the Giant, the game against the Cowboys, that was really atrocious. That was really, really atrocious. Over 640 yards of offense they gave up. That's bad. That's really, really bad. Really, really bad. So, it's I don't know. The defense has had some issues, but if we look at some of this too, of late, let's see where the Giants at here. Of late the Giants, they've had a couple duds in there, right? But let's see. Against the Jets, they did good. Against the Commanders, they did good. Against the Bills, they did good. This week against the Patriots, they did good. Against the Commanders, they gave up a bunch of yards, but they got 6 turnovers. They forced 6 turnovers, right? They didn't give up a boatload of offense to the Raiders. But let's also not forget the Raiders. The Giants' offense only scored 6 points against the Raiders. So the Giants' defense started off slow, really started off slow. But they've done decently. But it's more importantly, the past 2 weeks, the Giants, because of the defense, with the 9 turnovers, were able to get the victories. They're huge, absolutely huge. Yeah, their defense. So, is there maybe, if it was anything, said or done or whatever after the Cowboy game, I'm sure Daves was pissed off. You're giving up 640 yards of defense, of offense to the Cowboys. I'd be pissed off too. Right? Do you want Daves to be happy about it? Just smile, stand on the sideline, or do you want him to be a little pissed off about it? I want a coach who's going to be pissed off about it, right? But we just traded away Leonard Williams, right? Maybe in return, in that second round pick, maybe we use it for a defensive lineman, maybe, right? Maybe in that second round, maybe one of those second round picks, or maybe a first round pick, whatever. We get a defensive lineman, we get an edge rusher or something like that. maybe, right? But we've had some injuries, right? As I've said, and of course, then this game here, right? Now, which the Patriots took full advantage of it. We didn't have Leonard Williams, obviously, haven't had him for a few weeks, but the sexy one wasn't in there, and they did a good job of running the football. Now, they had well over 100 yards rushing. They had 147 yards. They ran the ball 31 times for 147 yards, 4.7 yards per carry, right? Now, that's it. It's one thing, nice having, the Carrick and McFadden, but now you lost your two best defensive linemen, right? And that really makes it difficult to stop the run, right? Because with the sexy one, you got to double team the guy, right? Now that he's not in there, there's a possibility that you can maybe just take one blocker and block whoever just takes Dexter Lawrence's spot on the field. So that frees up another blocker maybe to get to the second level, right? So it's as we can see by who led the team in tackles, right? Which is not something you really want to do, but good old Xavier McKinney led the team in tackles once again. Box score. I think he had 10. Now, he's been doing, he had 10. And of course, good old Bobby Okereke had 8. Adoree Jackson had 8. And Micah McFadden had 6. Jason Pinnock had 6. A'Shawn Robinson, he was in there for, right? At 5. Kayvon had 5. Kayvon had another half a sack. Hottie, I think it was he had a sack and a half. So those are his only sacks of the season, I think. Might be his only sacks of the season. But, once again, Xavier McKinney's doing a very good job. And I think he's making, a case for himself to, maybe get, if not get a contract from the Giants, get a contract from someplace else. Because remember, he's always, he's on the field. He's putting out his resume. So, if the Giants don't want to pay up for the X-Man, maybe somebody else will. Right. So once again, he's not, the Giants have a lot of, we're going to let Adoree Jackson go. Right. Said Xavier McKinney, right? Saquon Barkley, it's just like Glowinski. We're going to let him go. We're going to keep him for his 3rd year. Right. Tyrod Taylor, we got a lot of stuff to go after the season's over. A lot of stuff, but we still got 5 games left to go. Thankfully the Giants, as I said, the defense, right, came to play today. So very, very good. But I said the Giants have 5 games left to go. Right, we got the Saints, we got the Packers, we got the Rams. Right, so we got 3, winnable / semi-winnable games, and then we have 2 against the Eagles. So I will never pick the Giants over the Eagles. The Giants have to beat the Eagles. They have to beat the Giants. And then I'll start considering. I will not pick the Giants over the Eagles. Once again, the Eagles, got outplayed most of the game today against the Bills, but they still came away with the W. Once again, I'm very anxious to see this game coming up next week when they play the 49ers. Very, very anxious to see. I hope the 49ers beat the living crap out of them. Because the 49ers have a little bit of vengeance on their side, right? Because remember, they had they played in the championship last year. They got played in the championship game when Purdy got injured. So the Giants, they had like nobody in the backfield that could throw a football, and the Eagles basically killed them. So I think the 49ers got a little bit of revenge, right, on their plate here. So I think they're going to come in. They'll be a little bit pissed off. So hopefully, if I get down on my knees and pray to sweet dear baby Jesus, right? Let the 49ers beat the living crap out of the Eagles, please, right? That's what I'm hoping for. It's going to be a big game. For the 49ers, it's going to be a huge game because they got 3 losses. The Eagles got 1. Now, if the 49ers can beat them, that'll give the Eagles 2. And the 49ers still have 3. So the 49ers, they're going to have to get down on their knees and say, sweet dear baby Jesus, please let the Eagles lose one more football. 49ers are going to have to win the rest of their games, which is not going to be easy, obviously. But they can keep with their 3 losses and give the Eagles 2, and if the Eagles can somehow lose one more game, they both have 3. That means that the championship game, if it goes that, would go through San Francisco because they got the head-to-head over the Eagles. But I'm really anxious to see what the Eagles. They beat the Chiefs, but they had to get some luck on their side. Same thing here. Same thing with the Bills. They beat the Bills in overtime, but once again, they had to get some luck on their side. They got, for the most of the game, they were totally outplayed. Bills had well over 500 yards of offense. I think the Eagles had like 300 yards of offense after the game, after the regular game. Bills had almost 500 yards. I think going into overtime, I think Jalen Hurts had like 130 yards passing or something. So not impressed by the Eagles. I'm not impressed by their defense. They're just very lucky that their defense is not caught up to them. Well, because also, let's not forget, the Eagles do have to play the Cowboys too, right? Let's not forget that. And the Cowboys, it's going to be in Dallas. So if the Cowboys have 3 losses, let's not forget, if the 49ers can give the Eagles a second loss and the Cowboys can stay with 3, and if the Cowboys can beat the Eagles, that would give them both 3 losses. So anything's possible. But I just can't. I just can't stand it. Can't stand the Eagles. Absolutely can't stand the Eagles. Absolutely despise them. Nobody was happier last year that they lost the Super Bowl. But anyway, I saw a couple of these things, and one thing was the Giants set a record, and this is not easy to do. This is not easy to do. All right, let's see here. Let's see. I also sort of, because with the inactives, with Evan Neal, all right, once again being injured, Dexter Lawrence being injured, Boogie Basham, he was inactive, Javarius Owens, and Jashawn Corbin. They were inactive as well too. Hopefully we can get Dexter back in a couple of weeks, but we'll have to wait and see. And hopefully we can get Evan Neal back because we've got the bye week, so maybe in 2 weeks, maybe he'll be okay. He'll be ready to go. Guy just cannot stay healthy. But let's see. It goes to show you here. This is just something that's never happened in the Super Bowl era. This stat highlights wild improbability of the Patriots' loss to the Giants. You have to give the 2023 New England Patriots credit. They keep finding creative ways to lose. Right? New York's impotent offense lived up to its billing at MetLife Stadium. Yep. Quarterback Tommy DeVito was sacked 6 times as the Giants mustered just 10 points on 220 yards of offense. You got teams out there getting 220 yards in a quarter or even a half, and the Giants getting the whole game. Unbelievable. And yet that performance was somehow good enough for the Giants to get the dub because the Patriots kicker, Chad Ryland, shanked a 35-yard field goal with 6 seconds remaining to allow the Giants to win with a 10-7. Once again, 10. That's a key number here, as we'll see in a minute. How improbable was the Patriots' loss to the Giants? Well, New York became the first team ever in the Super Bowl era to win a game. I can't even talk. Did they just put job postings out there and just they put the postings? Okay. As the game goes on, you just look for these stats that's never happened before. The Giants are the first team in the modern era to win with the sunset at 7:14 in St. Louis, and the barometer was on the rise in Bulgaria, and the winds coming out of the west, southwest, and at 5 miles an hour in Brazil. And at the game time temperature was a 32, and they kicked 3 field goals into the stadium, and the Giants were the first. Where did they come up with this stuff? These stats. It's just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. But anyway, Giants were the first team in the Super Bowl era to win a game in which it scored 10 or fewer points, was sacked 6 or more times, and attempted fewer than 20 rushes. The Giants had 58 rush yards on 19 attempts. Against the Patriots today, the Giants became the first team in Super Bowl era to win a game in which they scored 10 or fewer points, were sacked 6 or more times, and had fewer than 20 rushing attempts. That's hard to do. That's really, really hard to do. It just it goes to show you I mean, how unbelievably horrible. Now, I also saw another stat too, that Bill Belichick's first 111 games in which his defense or his team held the opponent to 10 points or less. First 111, because he's coached for a long time, but I mean, to hold a team to 10 points or less during his coaching career, his teams have done it 111 times. Now, we're not talking about the Giants because he was the defensive coordinator back then. We're talking about when he was the head coach of the Browns in the 90s, and then ever since he's been the head coach of the New England Patriots. His 111 times, actually it's been 113, but the first 111 times that Bill Belichick's team has held the opponent to 10 points or less, he was 109-2. The first 111 times, 109-2. The last two times, he's 0-2. They lost 10-6 to the Colts in Germany, right? It was a couple weeks ago. And also, I mean, that was against the Colts, I believe. That and then they had a bye week, so he's coming off of a bye week, right? But anyway, they gave up 10 points to the Colts and they lost 10-6. They gave up 10 points to the Giants and they lost 10-7. Now, also, how bad are the Patriots? Well, that's. The Patriots are the first team in 30 years to allow 10 or fewer points in consecutive games and lose both of them. The last team to do it was the 93 Patriots. New England, 1993, October 24th and Halloween, October 31st, 1993. They gave up 10 points or less back-to-back games and lost them both. Then before that, you got it goes back to all the way back. They got back to 1971. So this started since 1966 in the regular season. It's been done, it looks like 6 times now, right? 1977, New England, the Cincinnati Bengals lost back-to-back games on October 15th and October 22nd. Green Bay, 1974, they lost back-to-back games in which they gave up 10 or less points on December 8th and December 15th. And then the Bengals, once again, in 1971, October 31st, Halloween, 1971, and November 7th, 1971. They gave up 10 points or less and lost both those games to Cincinnati. The only other team, and I lived through it, and it was painful, was the New York Giants of 1976. They lost back-to-back games in which they gave up 10 points or less and lost both games. 1976, that was painful. The Giants went 4 games in a row without scoring a touchdown. That's painful. They went 5 games in a row where they scored 1 touchdown. They lost 24-7 to the Vikings. All right. Then they went the next 4 games without scoring a touchdown. They lost 27-0 to the defending Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers in Giants Stadium. They lost 27-0. That put the Giants at 0-7. Bill Orange Parker, he got fired. They brought in John McVay to be the coach, the interim coach for the rest of the season. He coached the final 7 games of the 1976 season. The Giants finished 3-4. So for the Giants to go 3-4 at the last 7 games, that's like them winning like 13 Super Bowls straight. I mean, that was like a godsend back then, right? But anyway, McVay's first game, after we lost 24-7 to the Vikings, we lost 27-0 to the Steelers. So McVay's first game, we lost 10-0 to the Eagles. The next game, we went on the road and we lost 9-3 to the Cowboys. So we lost 10-0 and 9-3. So we lost back-to-back games in which the Giants gave up 10 or fewer points and they lost them both. So the Giants were just as bad, right? But then the following week, the Giants finally got their first victory of the season, right? They were 0-9. They finally beat the Redskins 12-9. 12-9. We kicked 4 field goals. wasn't until the following week the Giants actually started. The Giants lost 14-13 the following week. In Denver, we scored 2 touchdowns, 14-13, but we missed an extra point. So we lost 14-13. Could at least tied that game or maybe sent it in overtime and maybe won, but because we missed an extra point, we lost that game. But the Giants went 4 straight games in 1976 without scoring a touchdown. I mean, that was painful. But, I mean, the Patriots are just, I mean, they're absolutely horrible. I mean, let's see here. I mean, yeah. Their offense is just, unbelievable. Let's see. Yeah, they lost, they said 10-7. Then they lost 10-6. Then, they had some close games, right? They lost 20-17. They lost 21-17. Then they lost 34-0. They lost 38-3. They won 15-10 over the Jets. They lost 24-17. Then they lost 25-20. Game they should have beat the Eagles, but it is what it is. They outplayed the Eagles. They actually, as bad as their offense was, they had 382 yards against the Eagles. The Eagles had 251 yards, and the Eagles wound up winning the game as usual. The Eagles wound up lucking out once again. But I mean, how bad are the Patriots? Patriots really, really bad. The Patriots are, but they're prime time, right, for a good high draft pick. But anyway, the Giants are number 6 now, so they slid down. But we still got 5 games to go. Giants can certainly pick up a couple more W's. Not saying they're going to. We got a 3rd-string quarterback in there. We're not sure what we're going to do with Tyrod Taylor or not. Have to wait and see. Not sure if we're going to get Sexy Dexy back at all, when we're going to get him back. So I'll have to wait and see. But they said the Giants can get a couple more wins out of this. The Giants could wind up with 5 or 6 wins before the end of the season. We can maybe knock ourselves out of the top 10. It is what it is, right? Nobody's tanking. No team is tanking. No team is ever going to tank because if you go out there in the field, it's like, well, we'll tank and we'll get a good draft pick, and you're putting your resume on out there for everybody. And if they look at you and you stink, well, nobody's going to want you because you stink, right? Look, you might be tanking, but it looks like you stink, and that's going to hurt your pocket. That's going to hurt your wallet, right? So nobody's out there tanking, right? So the Giants are going to go out here. All indications, these final 5 games, are going to try to win every one of them. And who knows? The Giants are only like a game or so. I think somehow maybe a game or 2 out of the last wild card spot, if that's imaginable. But it was good to see, the defense stepped up without Sexy Dexy there. But thankfully, once again, against a very bad New England Patriots team, very bad, right? But we got the Packers coming up. They're actually talking about, they were talking about taking that one. I don't know why that one's still, why on God's green earth anybody still has that one as a primetime game. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know what other games are on. Let's see here. I don't know what other games they have going on that week, to tell you the truth. Let's see here. Whoops. There would have to be another game. I would have to think. Then the Monday night game against the Packers. I have no idea why, but the Packers won, so they're back in kind of a playoff hunt, I guess it is. I don't know why the Giants wanted. Monday night wants to see the Giants with the 3rd-string quarterback in there. I don't know why, but that game's it's a winnable game. Then we have the Saints, right, in New Orleans. Then we have to play the Rams at home as well too. Then we have to go, of course. Let's not forget about the 2 against the Eagles. But it's just good, nice to get the W. Really, really nice to get the W. It makes you feel good, especially going into the bye week, right? Maybe you can rest up and get a few of these guys back. Maybe these final 5 games of the season, maybe you can stay somewhat healthy and get some of these guys back, and maybe maybe make a nice little push toward the end of the season toward this some type of respectability. Because you also figure too, right? We're 4-8, and I always do this every year. The woulda, coulda, shoulda game, never going to happen. It does. I mean, but we were this close to beating the Jets, And then you also look at the fact with Waller getting pulled or held, whatever, on that play against the Bills. Right? If they threw a flag on that, if that's holding or pass interference on the defense, we got 1st and goal at the 1 yard line. Right? Give us a few cracks. We can't get that in there. Win the football game. I mean, the Giants are this close to being 6. As unbelievable as that sounds. 3rd string quarterback. All the offensive line almost every week has been a different offensive line. We traded away our 2nd best defensive lineman, our best player period on the team missed this game, the hamstring. Our other, you can say the best offensive player, Andrew Thomas, missed boatload of weeks with his hamstring. Right? Somehow we could almost be 6-6. Now, of course, we're not Super Bowl ready because every time we play a good team, what happens? We get blown out. But, the Giants are this close, could have been 6-6. We got 5 games coming up. We'd have 3 rather winnable games coming up. As bad as this season's been, the Giants are this close to right now being a 500 team. Think about that. Right. So you got to give credit where credit's due to Shane and Dable and all of that, and the team not giving up, not throwing in the towel, right, and still playing hard. And what are you supposed to do? The Giants beat this team or they beat that team. Well, what are you supposed to do when you're playing a weaker team, right? What are you supposed to do? You beat them. That's what the Giants did, right? They played the Commanders, right? Beat them both times. Okay. Beat the Cardinals. Game had to be a monumental comeback, but we beat them. And we beat the Patriots. 4 winnable games. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to win them. That's what the Giants did. Ta-da! They did it. So good W for the Giants. It's nice to see, they now they're on a bye week. Maybe they get some guys back, get healthy. Maybe we can get the sexy one back. We can certainly use them going forward for these final 5 games. And let's see where we go. Maybe with any luck, maybe the Giants can rattle off a few more wins and we can get ourselves out of, I hate saying it, but we get ourselves out of the top 10 as far as the draft order. But right now, the Giants are number 6. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, it's been 52, almost 53 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.